Welcome to We Hope in God channel. Today, we're going to do a deep dive, and this one is a bit more personal. It's based on a quiet time meditation on God's Word.
Right.
And it revealed something that was just so powerful, a kind of architectural command, you could say, right at the foundation of the Hebrew covenant.
Mhm.
So our goal is to really share the grace and insight from that and, present it in a clear, easy to understand way.
That's a great way to put it. Our mission today is to dig into the meaning and the application of this one core instruction. It really is a pivot point.
And where are we finding this?
We're going deep into Deuteronomy chapter 12.
Yeah.
The focus is on this foundational idea that basically says, establish the way of worship first.
Okay, so here's how we'll do it. First, we'll get grounded in the scripture, look at the historical setting.
Why it was said right then and there.
Exactly. Then we'll shift into what that means for us, for our own lives, for restoration. And finally, we'll talk about how we can actually apply this grace today.
It's amazing how an ancient law can really provide a blueprint for stability right now,
All right, so let's unpack this. We're talking about the book of Deuteronomy.
which is essentially Moses' final address, his last big speech to the Israelites.
So paint the picture for us. Where are they at this moment?
They are literally on the threshold, poised. They've just finished 40 years of wandering in the desert.
40 years of chaos.
A very chaotic, nomadic existence, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're standing on the east side of the Jordan River, and they can see it. They're looking right into Canaan, the Promised Land.
So this isn't just theory anymore.
Not at all. This is the moment God says, okay, the training wheels are off.
This is how you build a real functioning society.
Exactly.
And this is where, for me, the order of the text gets so surprising. You'd think, logically, that Moses would start with the most immediate practical issues, like,
What?
I don't know, border security, how to set up a defense, maybe how to divide up the land.
Sure, all the practical stuff.
But that's not what happens. Chapter 12, the very beginning of the detailed law, is all about worship. Why?
And that is the critical question. Chapter 12 is the absolute foundation for everything else that's about to come. Moses starts explaining the laws for life in Canaan, and the verse that sort of kicks it all off is Deuteronomy 12, verse 8.
Okay, and what does it say?
In the NIV, it reads, "You are not to do as we do here today, everyone doing as they see fit."
Everyone doing as they see fit. That really paints a picture of the last 40 years, doesn't it?
It does. Moses is basically saying that chaotic do-it-yourself religious life you had in the wilderness, that stops now.
Because they had to be improvising, right, moving all the time.
Constantly. Worship was, by necessity, ad hoc. They'd build an altar here, offer a sacrifice there. There was no central place, so they were, in fact, doing as they saw fit.
And that's the astonishing fact here. The very first command God gives for building a stable nation, before justice or family law or anything else, is specifically about how to worship him. It's like he's saying that national order and even personal order flows directly from getting your spiritual priorities straight first.
That's it, exactly. That independent, self-determined way of doing things had to stop. The new land required a new structure.
A centralized structure.
Yes, worship had to move from being this local, personal impulse to a national, regulated command.
Yeah.
And that's why the rest of the chapter keeps talking about the place the Lord your God will choose.
Now, let's transition from that historical context to a more personal reflection. There's something so moving about the fact that God puts worship first.
It really changes your perspective on where to start when your own life feels chaotic.
When you feel like you're just doing as you see fit.
Right. And what this insight really shows is that no matter how broken or messy or sinful a life might seem, restoration begins the moment worship is put back in its proper place.
That is such a powerful promise of recovery because we all stumble, right? We struggle with finances, with relationships, with everything else. But this suggests recovery doesn't start with perfecting all those other things. It starts when we commit to realigning the center, to coming before God in the way he has shown us.
Not just in whatever way feels right in the moment.
Exactly.
And look at the specific instructions he gave them in the passage. Bring your burnt offerings, sacrifices, your tithes, your special gifts, vow offerings, free will offerings.
It's a long list.
It is. And they had to bring it all to the one place he would choose.
And that's the crucial insight, I think. When you just read that list, it can feel like a bunch of rigid, bureaucratic rules.
Like religious red tape.
Yeah. But it's not about that at all, is it? It's an invitation.
An invitation to what?
Through these practices, these physical acts, God is inviting them to reflect on why they worship. And even more, to learn to trust the God who stands beyond the worship itself.
That's a great point. These instructions, they're not just about the rules. They're a tool, a way God structured their society to build trust in Him.
It's a structure for trust.
Yes. It forced them to trust that He was the provider, not their own hard work. It's a gentle reminder, I think, for us too.
How so?
Well, not to get too caught up in the form of our own rituals, whether it's our quiet time routine or going to church on Sunday.
You can't cling to the form.
Right. We have to place our trust fully in God Himself. The method is just the vessel. It's supposed to lead us to the Master.
So this brings us right to the application for today. If establishing worship first was the architectural blueprint for an entire nation,
I mean, how much more vital is it for us as individuals trying to navigate our own lives?
it all comes down to aligning our priorities.
It does. We have to stop trying to fix all the downstream problems first.
The anxiety, the stress, the messy relationships.
All of that. We try to fix the symptoms before we address the root cause, which is a disordered center. But when we actually establish God's way of worship first, the text seems to promise two immediate outcomes.
Okay, what's the first one?
First, there is restoration. Real, structural restoration. By putting God at the center, everything else in our lives gets a proper anchor.
We stop just doing as we see fit.
And we gain clarity. We see where our time and our energy and our resources should actually go. That's the promised order.
And the second outcome.
There is true joy. And I don't mean just, a fleeting happy feeling.
Right.
It's a stable, reliable joy that comes from knowing you're aligned with God's design, from trusting the provider instead of your own frantic efforts.
So that's the challenge for you, for all of us listening. The hope is to actually live this day centered on worship, to consciously place God at the center of our thoughts and decisions.
It's about reversing the process. Do you start your day trying to frantically organize everything
Right.
in the hopes that maybe you'll have time for God at the end?
Or do you establish that devotion first, trusting that His presence will bring the order you need to handle everything else?
It's a constant choice to trust the blueprint over our own impulses.
May this day be one where we really experience that renewal and genuine joy. Not because we solved every problem,
But because we got the foundation right, because we placed God at the center.
So, to recap the core takeaway from our deep dive into Deuteronomy 12, the foundation of a restored, stable, and joyful life is establishing God's way of worship first.
It sets the priority for everything else. It reminds us that God defines the relationship, not our own chaotic feelings or impulses.
He provides the structure.
He does. And maybe here's a final thought for you to take with you, something to chew on.
Go for it.
If the Israelites had to take a physical action, literally travel miles to bring a physical offering to a specific place, what's one practical, tangible action you can take today to center your worship?
Not just a thought, but an action.
An action. Maybe it's setting a specific time or giving a specific resource, something that reminds you to trust the God who is beyond the form. Don't cling to the ritual. Cling to the reason He gave the command in the first place.
That's a great challenge. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive. May each meditation be a small light for your walk with Christ.
We walked our own ways, trusting our sight, doing what felt right. You call us back, you call us home, to worship you alone. Before all plans, before our days, you set our hearts on praise. Not by our ways, but by your truth, we come to you. When voices rise and hearts are torn, you draw us back once more. We lay down all we choose and say, your way, not ours. We walked our own ways, trusting our sight, doing what felt right. You call us back, you call worship you alone. Before all plans, before our days, you set our hearts on praise. Not by our ways, but by your truth, we come to you. When voices rise and hearts are torn, you draw us back once more. We lay down all we choose and say, your way, not ours. We worship you, we worship you at the place you choose. We worship you, we worship you. Here we are in